Alright, hey everybody, it is Umbra here to bring you your recap of tonight's live stream and talk about a little bit about, what the general feeling was, what was all the information that was given out, and so on and so forth. So let's get right into it. So first off, the obvious thing to talk about in the live stream this time was Vega, a new character, Thunder-based character that is coming to War of the Visions next week on the JP side, the new Void character, axe-based slasher, and going to be interesting to see how strong he is, because while my initial impression wasn't super hot on him, seems to be that there's a lot of things lining up for him to be quite good. Martial Artist and Dragoon Knight as his sub-jobs also potentially will allow him to get some interesting potential if he does have Guts, Immortal Spirit from that job. Dragoon Knight, potentially some healing. But what we do know about him, first off, let's just go in a little bit until we find him. There he is. Of course, we know he has Berserk. His Limit Burst can remove enhancements, as well as dealing strong damage and causing Berserk. So all of that stuff is really good. But we now know he also has sure hit attacks, re-raise cancellation, and increased hit chance and magic resistance if re-raise is active, which he does have in his normal kit. Also, he's a powerful attacker that I do believe has barriers as well. So everything's looking for him to be quite good, and considering that he's highly accurate means that he'll be great for dealing with evasion parties, which is something that I think always resonates strongly with the community. So yes, that's the great news. Now, at the start of this video, you'll notice that I did have on screen, they talked about the new Vision and Esper Vision card and Esper combination this time. So yes, on February 8th, we'll be getting a new 70 cost VC. You can more than likely guess that it will be basically a job VC, and it will come with the new Esper Master Coral. This is a upgraded version of Coral. Now, it's more than likely going to be a Thunder-based summon, and more than likely probably going to be a Thunder/based summon. But, I'm happy to see an Esper. I'm happy to see a 70 cost VC. And just to talk really quickly, if you're wondering why there's no camera in this video, I turned it off for the live stream because I have company over and I'm not turning it back on until Monday. Ha. So there you go. So that was really interesting. Next up, the return of Porcelain Tower, but what's called the Thunder King's Tower, which is basically going to be a climb. So let me see. It's going to be added to the Porcelain Tower, but it's a dungeon that appears as a different tower from the previous tower. Climb this rank 1. As a reward, you can obtain materials to enhance the Ring of Lightning beyond what its current capabilities are. So quite interested to see what that will be. That will also be starting on February 8th, and I'm assuming that Old Porcelain Tower will return at the same time. This is as it is part of it. Next up, while we didn't find out that basically they're still doing some finalization for the Valentine's Day stuff this year, what we can say with 100% is that this raid revival will be coming back with a chance of getting older VCs as well as some guild equipment or some raid equipment. So good chance to stock up on all of that. There will also be a few campaigns. Now, that's basically everything to do. Whoops, I oversized that. That's going to be a problem. Basically, the rest of the stream, the next hour, not even joking on that one, it was literally an hour of content was to do with the player feedback survey, which is just not loading in. Thanks, YouTube. And dealing with a lot of the response. So questions were asked like, what was your player rank? What is your current play information? Do you play other games? Opinions on Phantom Enhancement, Battlefield of Destruction. Battlefield of Destruction was the guild battle mode, which was not very well received apparently because it was confusing and wasn't really clear for a lot of players. As for Phantom Enhancement, most people think it's too expensive. They don't like it because the materials are too rare. And then there was just questions about how they like PvP content, PvE content, UI, weapon vision card types, and a lot of it was feedback that most of the players are generally unhappy. Like the numbers and percentages talked about here on pie charts were very, very like split, with, you know, the larger segment here just being not don't have an opinion one way or another, but like only 29%, or usually around a quarter, found a lot of the times that it was a positive result, with 25% being negative, which doesn't really, like, it's not panic time. But Globalers, while I understand you're very unhappy about Vision Gate, you probably should know that there is something going on JP that JP players are not happy about, which is to do with a lot of quality of life stuff, vision card UI just being unclear. And there's like a ton of stuff in this survey about things that people are unhappy with. But the point is that a lot of improvements are potentially wanted. As for on a more positive note, because I don't want to focus too much on like the negative aspects, some of the stuff later on to do with like newer content, people wanted to see things like puzzles, like potentially puzzle content, or, you know, towers with very restrictive ideas match with like more than class match and whatnot with more than 3 characters, or pickup match with more than 3 characters. There were a lot of things that people have ideas, so it wasn't all negative. Some people are really interested in the idea of weird and silly content. There was the news that the actual main story updates will be slowing down a little bit over the next little while, for the foreseeable future kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, there was some interesting stuff. There was a little bit of discouraging stuff because a lot of people are unhappy, but they're quite rightly to be unhappy. I think that you know, feedback is really important for making the game more positive and a better experience, but part of that is not just like addressing it, it's also doing something about it. And while this kind of survey shows that they have taken feedback from players and whatnot, it is important that they actually act upon it, and in a timely fashion, as players, you know, won't stick around because there's a lot of good stuff coming out this year, and that is competing for time, as well as just a competitive gacha market. But overall, the live stream was more of a somber one, with people being generally in the comment section like a little bit disheartened, we'll say, as well as towards the end when they were wrapping up, like one of the things with a lot of Japanese streams is like even Japanese TV is a lot of people go sugoi or like about like minute things, just to, you know, keep the vibe up. And, you know, I mean, there's other cultural things too, but essentially it's usually a sign that, you know, things are in generally good spirits. And that really wasn't happening on tonight's live stream, which is a little bit concerning. As you can see, the bottom right here, who is one of the games lead, was definitely reading the comments that were coming in on YouTube, and to the end he was sniffling a bit, which he could have been sick, but I think he's having a hard time. And I think if there's one thing I'm going to sum up before the end of this video, I really want to submit that, you know, remember that the devs are people. They're people who love making content, making the artwork, making character models, making funny stories, making their own like story in the like FFE universe and everything like that. And that like even the game director, like he very much has ideas for content, but he has to act within restrictions of what the higher ups say and what he can do. So, you know, like it's one of those things of like a complicated issue where it's like, obviously we're all frustrated with certain things, we're unhappy with certain things in the game and whatnot, and it's very easy to just shoot whoever you see, and these are the people we see every single week. And I give the guy in the top right a lot of crap because he's constantly like giggling like an idiot, it feels like. And I know what I just said, and I understand the irony of that, but like he is just very that is frustrating when it sometimes feels like it's falling on deaf ears. So the survey is basically to show that they are listening, they have seen the what people want, and they're going to try and address it in a timely fashion. But whether or not they can do that, you know, it's not just that. So I want to give a shout out to the guy in the bottom right here, who is basically kind of just the lead JP game designer from my knowledge. And just the fact that, you know, I think that there's a ton of pressure on him from the community and from the executives. And like, I feel like he gets, you know, he's just trying to make something he loves, and the business side is really kind of messing him over, of just constant 100 cost characters, and this is the content we are willing to produce and whatnot. So I do want to give a shout out to the humans that are on the other side here. And just to clarify that statement, executives are borderline unhuman sometimes. So, you know, if you have any hatred or anything like that, global players, remember, don't necessarily send it to the game guys. Send it to the marketing people. Send it to the executives, because they're the ones who are really making it more problematic. But he'll never actually see this, but I want to just say that I really hope that he doesn't take, you know, the community too hard. I mean, there's a lot of frustration flying around, but and he has to deal with it, and hopefully, you know, he can make the game more positive and whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my closing message, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope you found out some information, and we'll see you next week for a fuller look at Vega and whatnot. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and see you next time.